Good evening. First of all, I may pay respect to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. And good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, the 22nd of June, 2020. As usual, I'm here with you all to share some of my thoughts, some of my insights, and also be with you. Hi David, Manish, Margaret, Colin, Karina, and everyone. And, first of all, thank you Manish for your generous donations towards the center. And also thank you Margaret for the lovely message and the stories. Thank you for the questions from other members like Gautam and a few other people. So thank you very much. So today I'm going to talk on the third hindrances, which is the sloth and torpor. Frankly telling, I've been very kind of busy and feeling sore head and a tiredness. So I almost all day today lie on my bed and I took a rest. So and I was reflecting on the same time that I supposed to be talking on this third hindrance, which is a sloth and torpor, basically is the sleepiness. And here I am sleeping all day long, and still feeling this little bit of sore head around. And with this again, also discouraged, there was a laziness, saying that, today I don't want to give a talk and I feel very tired. My mind is not ready, my body is feeling so tired, and not like that. So with this I was like, no, I want to stop giving a talks now, like that. And then suddenly I got a thought saying, no, you've been sleeping all day now, and although you are not fully recovered, you have to go and meet with your audience online on Facebook and they give a talk. And I was feeling like, okay, I was talking to myself in a way, and mentally, and I thought, okay, right, so it is a form of overcoming a sloth and torpor, seeing the importance and the changing the mindset. So in a sloth and torpor as a hindrance, in a way that hinders our practice, hinders, not allowing us to see through. So in a way I was like, okay, as soon as there was a mindset of changing that, okay, now you have to give a talk, then immediately I opened my eyes and looked at the skies and went to have a fresh up myself and had a drink. And I again sat down for a little while just to reflect what I'm going to talk, and reflected on that. So that's basically the way you overcome the hindrance, or so-called the sloth and torpor. And in regards to the sloth and torpor, this is, I think, almost every one of us will face it. And again, I've been observing, it's been some times now, probably because of the mental stress or depression of having so many things to do, or dealing with so many people, and physically working as well, causes me, when I'm meditating, normally I dozed off and a drowsiness takes me over. And at the beginning of a meditation, again, I try hard and not to go to sleep. And as soon as I've been meditating, and slowly, this body just takes me to the sleep. And sometimes I do know I'm going to sleep, and yet the awareness is so weak that I cannot control. And with this, I just will go or to sleep. But what I've been noticing that despite of that, because of this intention to meditate, in that, gradually what happened was that I was able to wake up in a way that I was half asleep. There was some, and then as a result of that, I had a thought of that what is going on, and that's and I was watching it. And recently, because of this Facebook Live, the meditation is on a Facebook Live, so I went back and looked at it, and especially when I'm editing to post on Facebook, I looked at it, and almost I found that there are many recordings that I was dozed off, whereas my mind was like alive. So it's quite interesting to know in this case. Right. So the third hindrances, I have written a few notes here quickly, just to give like an authentic background of this Thinamiddha, or hindrances. The third hindrance, sloth and torpor, and that is basically it's like making us inability to be mindful of the object of the present moment awareness. So that is taking us to the sleepiness, drowsiness. And a sloth and torpor, and sloth is mental boredom, mental laziness, mental dullness, or in a short form, mental dullness is the main key here that we are working on in the meditation. Whereas torpor is the physical one. In that physical one, again, there is a ways to deal with that, and a torpor. And the torpor is basically physical inability to continue practice. So there is a mind, the mental inability to work on a meditation, and there is a second is a physical inability to work. And I think we almost all the beginners or those who have been practicing will face this sleepiness one time or many times, particularly if you have been working hard throughout the day and physically working, physically doing, and also you have eaten before you meditate, then basically the physically enable us, because the physiology, this body needs to digest the food, and with that basically the glucose that comes from the food takes us to the sleepiness, and that is again a form of making us unable to continue practice meditation. So that's why it's always suggested not to have any food or hard foods before you do the meditation. You need to have a light foods, and that's another reason why. And when we go to the retreats, after you have eaten, you have about an hour of a break, just to let the digest the food, and then after that you go and do the meditation. I remember early February when I went to the meditation course in Thailand for 1 month. Because of the time distance and because of the tiredness, the long journey, early mornings meditation, I was always sleeping, and it doesn't matter how hard I try, I just dozed off, straight away, and I was very surprised. And then after a week later, we were taught to pay respect. It's called a mindful respect. aware of this movements of as you move your hands, lifting, rising, bringing into your chest, and then top. So it takes about 10 to 15 minutes of paying 3 respects. And I realized this really changed this mental state of the so-called sleepiness. Changed because I was moving slowly with a sharp mindfulness. It's apply the strength, the energy, the effort energy, and also being so mindful of concentrating on that. When these two become balanced, then I was awake and alert, and with that I was able to meditate, and I was very alert and aware of everything that's happening. With that I was able to progress in a meditation. So that's why when you're physically really tired, or physically you have been doing something, and when you eat something before the meditation, and obviously these hindrance, the torpor in particular, will take control and take us to the sleep. And the sloth, basically the boredom, this boredomness or laziness or dullness of the mind, and that basically not knowing the importance of the importance of this practice, or importance of how precious our life is, or importance of having the primary object to concentrate. Okay, so that's why in order to overcome, that's why we have to look at these these things in a very deeper way. One is knowing that how precious our life is, and we shouldn't be just let this life goes on without having any development of our mind or cultivation of our mind, and looking forward towards the liberation. And when we have that the sense of a value of our life, and how fortunate we are to have an opportunity to come across with this Buddhism and Buddhist meditation, and have chance to learn meditation, and that's how we'll take away the laziness and take away this dullness of the mind, or misunderstanding or ignorance, and then we will energize ourselves to practice meditation. And then the second is that this meditation itself is so important, is so valuable, that helping me to understand myself and my own mind. And having seen this value on a meditation, again, that energizes us to make a balance between our concentrated mind or concentration and the energy that also illuminates our mind too. And the third is the object that we are paying attention to. And the object again here, whether it is the breath, incoming and outgoing breath, or the rising, falling, or any objects that you have been using, we have to see how important these objects, and how much these objects are helping to develop our mindfulness, our awareness, or basically cultivating our mind. And having seen that value of these objects, and these being born as a human, an opportunity to come across with this meditation, and an opportunity to have this time to practice, and once we have seen the value of it and given the value, then we will pursue our time on the meditation, and we will be energized and fully awake and alert, and the practice will be more beneficial. And so that's the Thinamiddha, the sloth side, or the mental dullness side. And obviously, sometimes our intentions are good, we want to meditate, and our motivations are good, and we have seen the value, how our life is, and important, and meditation has helped us to overcome our stress, overcome our depression, and overcome our previously previous traumas or the dissatisfactions and things, so I better continue practicing, and like that. So these are ways to overcome, and despite of that, sometimes we still go back to sleepiness, and that's simply because the physical body is tired, or physical body, or basically we have eaten food. So eaten food, and as a result we go back to the sleep. And in that case, the first way to think is that when you are sleepy, just sleep. That's the best way to overcome. And the second is, do not eat before meditation. And when we are meditating, suppose we are meditating. It's not just a meditation. In everyday life, whatever you are doing, in that case, we have to check whether it is a physical or a mental. If it's a mental, then we need to work it out, and if it's physical, then we have to change our behaviors. And as a result, when we are meditating, if we are very sleepy and doesn't know how to overcome, and is given a very structured way to overcome this sloth and torpor, and that is the first instructions was given that change the object. So suppose you are concentrating on the abdomen rising, falling, and you feel sleepy, and then you simply need to energize yourself and change the object from observing the air rising, falling to probably breathing in and breathing out, or scanning the body. And after doing so, and still very difficult to overcome it, and this in this case again, we have to have a very sharp strong awareness to change it and work with that. And still sleepy, then you can massage yourself, massage your holding, changing your posture, massage your hands, or massage your legs, or you pull your ears like this to just wake you up. And that's simply for the physical term, wake you up. And if still, then open your eyes and look at the sign, and look at the skies or light. So that's why it's called the changing into the perception of light, a bright light. And that's where it's called aloka kasina, aloka sanya. And this place again, you can use the other techniques, so known as the Dhammakaya meditation, this crystal meditation too. And this, where the temple where I was ordained, we practice this Dhammakaya meditation, the bright light, seeing the bright light in our minds, and going and working through this bright light. And this again says that when we have overcome the sloth and torpor with the help of this bright light, or perception of the light, helps to develop the mindfulness and awareness. And as we develop this mindfulness and awareness in a certain extent, that will lead to the vidya and vimutti, means the knowledge and liberation. So this is another form of a meditation, and I used to practice, and this is also known as the samatha meditation. But when we look at it and practice properly, we see that it is not just a samatha, but also seeing this bright light as an impermanent, and this whole mass of body is made of the four elements, and these elements, as long as working together, the conditioning together, these exist. So seeing the impermanence of our own self and this body and the mind, then it helps us to understand the three characteristics, and that's how we'll get the knowledge and able to liberate ourselves. So that is the Dhammakaya meditation, and this is again one way of overcoming the sloth and torpor in between. And the further instruction says that despite of you have opened your eyes and you contemplate, let the light came through your eyes to your mind and waking you up, and still you feel this sloth and torpor, the drowsiness is still there, then stand up. So walking, practicing the standing, and then followed by the walking up and down. So basically practice of a walking meditation. And still you feel a drowsiness, then you can go and have wash your face, so-called sprinkle of water in your eyes. So that's the word used by the translation, the English translation for the Pali. So sprinkle sprinkle water in your eyes just to wake you up. And still, then the best way is to go and sleep and lie down. And this lying down is one of if you are very tired, then this is one of the best time, and you will be sleeping. But the instruction that we can find from the scripture, that when you go to lie down, again, you are not simply lie down with a dull mind. You are lie down saying that I am not sleeping, or I'm not lying down in order to just to please myself, but I'm lying down to let my body rest, and then will energize later. And I think last month I gave a talk on sleep and relax, one of our talks, so you can go back and listen this sleep and relax on a YouTube if you want, or you can try to find on a Facebook as well. So in there I also mentioned about this, how do we go to sleep. And also in that case I found that Buddha had a siesta every day, when he was very elderly. And there was even a debate that a Buddha always sleeps in the afternoon after the lunch. How could he be aware at all the time? And the Buddha gave that this body needs rest. When it's get old, this body cannot function properly, and as a result, having a siesta is always beneficial to come back for the rejuvenate the entire body, and helps to get the sufficient rest. And that's how Buddha also had the siesta after the lunch. And I think in Burma and Myanmar, almost all the monks will normally go for the siesta after the lunch in the afternoon. So and this is the concept, and how to practice this to overcome this sloth and torpor. And we are not on a retreat, so we have been doing so much physical work, and as a result of that, every night when you come for the meditation, there's a very high probability that you may go to sleep. In that case, again, do not be discouraged and do not fight with it. The more you fight, that again generate more ill will, or the hatred, and discouraged you from coming back to meditation. And there are people also said to me that because of the busyness, they don't have a time, and whenever they sit for a meditation, then normally they go to sleep. And my suggestions will be, it's good that you have spare your time for the really good rest through the meditation. If possible, be mindful, but if not, even in a meditation you sleep, that is most the beneficial as well. It is like you are sleeping in meditation maybe 15 minutes, maybe that equal to the half a night. That's that much, because that when you are meditating, you're simply disconnecting from all the worldly matters, and you're simply going into the deep sleep. And the deep sleep is always helpful for both mind and the body. So although you cannot meditate, at least you have tried separating your time on the same day, same time, same place, in the same amount of the time, and you will be mindful before you go into the sleep, and then you will be awakening and before or after the time passes. At least you have been collecting the points, point-based system here now. So basically you are training your mind to develop more and more. Maybe first day you are able to pay attention to one breath, maybe next day 2 breaths, and then the third and the fourth and 5, and like that, and after that you go on to sleep. And it's a deep sleep you are experiencing, so that's fine and no problem with that. But if the irony here is that if we want to develop the greater and a deeper meditation, then we have to overcome it, this by the different ways that I have mentioned. The Buddha gave a simile of this, that the first simile is like the water overgrown by the moss, so we cannot see through the water surface and what's in there inside. And that's our mind is like that. When the sloth and torpor takes over or overgrown, then we cannot see what's going on inside our minds, or we will be not aware of the things as they truly are, and we will not be able to develop this clear awareness. And as a result, another simile is given, that it's like coming out from the prison. It's like a complete freedom when you are able to overcome the sloth and torpor. And this real freedom is like, you have all the authority, and you can take control of your own destiny in this way. Okay, so this is the sloth and torpor, the third hindrances that we can come over or overcome by different ways. If that's a mental sloth, the mental dullness, then seeing the value of our life, value of opportunity, have opportunity to practice, seeing the value of the object. And if that's a physical a torpor, the physical inability, then basically we need to go through these simple instructions to overcome. And after that, finally we will be able to overcome this sloth and torpor. And the last bit is that sometimes when you have a great concentration, that also takes you to the sleep. And in that case, we have to apply the energy to wake us up. And then sometimes we have too much energy, and we cannot have a concentration that also takes us to the sleep. So in that case, we need to slow down, take it easy, and then just relax and then think of one at a time. And with this, we will be able to grow in this path to the development of meditation. Right, so I offer this as tonight's talk, and hope that this helps you to overcome the sloth and torpor. And if not, again, do not worry, and in a few minutes time we will have a evening chanting and guided meditation. So you're most welcome to join with us, and until then, see you and good night, and thank you everyone for watching. Thank you.